All right, let's get right into it. There's this massive question hanging over everything in tech and finance right now. Are we in a giant AI bubble? I mean, is this whole incredible boom about to burst? Let's break it down.
And what's so wild about this whole thing is who's sounding the alarm. It's not just the usual skeptics. No, that quote right there, that's from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. So when the person at the very center of the AI explosion admits things are a bit inflated, yeah, the conversation is serious. That's a big deal.
So that really sets the stage for what we're going to dig into today. Just how inflated are we talking about? And, the big one, what happens if this whole thing comes crashing down? We're going to look at what the veterans are saying, trace some of these mind-boggling financial deals, and really think about what a bust would mean, not just for Silicon Valley, but for, well, all of us.
Okay, so first things first. To really get a handle on what could happen if this thing does burst, we kind of have to look backward, right? Because believe me, this isn't the first time a hot new technology has whipped up this kind of frenzy.
A lot of you probably remember the dot-com bubble back in the late 90s. That was a huge deal, a total speculative mania that really rocked the stock market. But, and this is the crazy part, the amount of money being poured into AI right now makes the dot-com era look tiny. It's not even in the same league. The stakes today are just way, way higher.
In this quote from AI pioneer Jerry Kaplan, wow, it just hits you. This is a guy who's seen this movie before, 4 times in fact. He's watched these tech bubbles grow and then pop. And his warning is crystal clear. If this AI bubble bursts, it's not just going to be a bad day for tech companies. He's saying it could drag the entire economy down with it.
So, okay, where is all this cash coming from? And where is it going? This is where it gets really interesting. To get why people are screaming bubble, we have to untangle this web of massive, complicated deals happening right at the center of the AI world.
Just look at this. It's kind of dizzying, right? This whole network of money flying back and forth. You've got Microsoft pouring money into OpenAI. Then OpenAI has these huge contracts with Oracle. And then you get to the big one, Nvidia. Nvidia invests in OpenAI, but then OpenAI turns around and is a huge customer, buying Nvidia's chips. You see how tangled that is? That's what's making some people really nervous.
Right, and there's a name for this kind of thing, circular funding. Basically, it's when a company gives money to its own customers, who then use that money to buy the company's products. And you can see the problem, can't you? It can create this illusion of huge demand. But is it real, or are you just paying people to be your customers?
And that right there, that's the core of the whole argument. Is this massive, unending demand for AI chips and services actually real, or is it just being propped up, artificially inflated, by a few giant companies passing money between themselves?
And for anyone who's been following the markets for a bit, this whole situation has some really spooky echoes of a company called Nortel. They were a huge Canadian telecom company that just imploded back in the early 2000s. And why? Well, it turned out they were using very similar tactics to basically invent their own sales. So yeah, you can see why those parallels are making people pretty jumpy.
But this isn't just about spreadsheets and stock prices. The AI boom is a real physical thing. It's building stuff. And if that river of money suddenly dries up, the consequences out here in the real world could be enormous.
I mean, just look at the scale of this, especially the energy use. It's absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about a projected increase of more than 20 times in the next decade or so. Think about it. Today, it's like powering a city of 2 million people. In the future, we're talking about powering a city of over 40 million. The numbers are just staggering.
And here's that warning from Jerry Kaplan again, and honestly, it's pretty chilling. He's asking the question, what happens to all these huge data centers if the money disappears? He's painting a picture of a potential disaster. These giant buildings just sitting out there, rusting, leaking toxic stuff into the ground, all built with cash that's long gone.
Okay, so that's the scary part, but it's not the whole story. There's another way to look at this. A lot of people in tech are saying, hey, even if this is a bubble, and even if it pops, what's left behind could actually be a good thing.
And this is such a great point from Jeff Boudier over at Hugging Face. He reminds us that the dot-com crash was brutal, right? Lots of companies went under. But what did it leave behind? A ton of super cheap fiber optic cable that had been laid all over the world. And that infrastructure is what made today's internet possible. It's the reason we have companies like Google and Netflix and YouTube.
So that's the silver lining argument for AI. Yeah, the finances might be shaky, but all this crazy spending is building a ton of infrastructure, powerful computer chips, massive data centers, and that foundation could be what the next wave of innovators uses to build things we can't even imagine right now.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the most important trillion-dollar question in this entire debate.
So when you see all these billions just sloshing around between the same few giant companies, you just have to step back and ask, wait a minute, where is this money really coming from? Who's the ultimate backer of this entire system?
And I'll just leave you with this final thought. One analyst made the point that Nvidia, the company making the chips everyone needs, kind of looks like the final investor in this whole circular system. So here's the real kicker. If that's the case, who else on Earth has enough money to invest $100 billion into another company? Who else can keep this thing going? And what happens if they stop? That question is just hanging over everything right now. And I guess we're all about to find out.